Right, so the top focus at this point of time, it's not Pakistan, it's not Virat Kohli or Anil Kumble's job, but it is the future of lakhs and lakhs of students across India, and that is something which is sought to bother everybody, including the news, television news media, which otherwise keeps raving and ranting about every nationalistic issue. So my question is this not nationalistic enough to talk about the future of our students? Let's now look at how the CBSE has perhaps dragged itself into its own mess, something which itself was created.
In a few days from now, almost 11 lakh students across the country will unlock their future potential when they receive the CBSE class 12 results. But the board's decision to change its decade-old grading policy has jeopardized it all.
The Central Board of Secondary Education has sought a legal opinion on the Delhi High Court, stopping it from withdrawing its moderation policy for marks for class 10 and 12. Remember, the CBSE had said that it was withdrawing its moderation policy. The Delhi High Court then stepped in and said that it was too late and that the CBSE could not take such a decision now.
I feel that moderation, no moderation, whatever the conversations around that is, things have to be put to rest and we have to move forwards because parents are getting very worried.
This is my personal opinion that once a question paper has been formed, then there should not be any kind of moderation.
Nothing is clear as of now and we cannot move ahead, and it is already, today is already the 25th of May and the result was expected on 24th.
If it counts though, anxious students have this assurance from the centre over their futures.
मैं इतना ही कहूँगा, जो कोर्ट में से एक फैसला आया उससे कोई चिंता की बात नहीं है, सबके साथ न्याय होगा और किसी को भी अन्याय नहीं होगा.
Yes, it should be resolved, and I think the minister should intervene in the matter. I think naturally it's a matter of great tension.
11 lakh students may have appeared for the most critical exam of their career, but for now it seems that the system has failed them all. With Vandana Sebastian Bawa in New Delhi, Bureau Report, NewsX.
Somewhere over the next half an hour, perhaps we'll be forced to put up the question, is this just a mess or is this perhaps one of the biggest scams the Indian education sector has ever seen? We have all four of our guests on our screens. Let me first come to the reporter who broke this story himself first, way back in 2016, my former colleague Meghnad Bose. Meghnad, good to see you after a while. Meghnad, marks moderation, break it down for the benefit of our viewers. It's not moderation. You're spiking up the marks. And secondly, does it or does it not qualify as a scam?
I think, Sanjeev, it definitely does qualify as a scam. And the reason we say this is because conclusive data analysis has shown that year after year, the CBSE and in fact the ISC too, which is the other big national board, not only did they moderate marks, but the process in which they moderated marks was unequal and unfair, which means that they were increasing the marks of different students by different amounts. And just to quickly tell you how unfair this was happening in what was happening in CBSE, say for example, if a person getting 80, his marks were increased by 15, they would be given 95.
Yeah.
But what happens to the guy who gets 90? You can't give him 105, right? So the CBSE decided completely arbitrarily, and last year a former CBSE exam controller, Mr. Pavnesh Kumar, had admitted to this, that the CBSE decided on this arbitrary figure of 95 to cut off moderation. So the maximum amount any moderated mark can go to is 95. But that just defies logic, because what happens to the guys who are actually getting 95? They're facing the brunt. They are being disadvantaged for no fault of theirs.
And so all of a sudden the CBSE suddenly decides to wake up and smell the coffee, and it says that, all right, from this year we are not going to moderate the marks. Instead, they're slapped on the wrist by the Delhi High Court, which says that the other boards are already doing so. You cannot put your own students at a disadvantage. Why would they take such a retrospective decision? If the exams have been held in March, why bring up a decision not to moderate the marks, or rather spike the marks, Meghnad, if I might say so yet again, in the month of April? Why would you do so?
That's an interesting question, because the CBSE, ever since my report in June 2016, the CBSE was grappling internally with the matter. In December last year, they decided that the only way to address the issue of moderation was to do away with it entirely. But it took them, because they realized they couldn't be doing it alone, they wanted the other boards to do it with them. They wanted the Union HRD Ministry's help, like you said. In April, on April 24th, that meeting took place. If that meeting had taken place a few months earlier, then possibly this year itself, none of the boards would have moderated. If that meeting took place a few months later, it could have been done for 2018. In fact, even on April 24th when they met, the decision could have been simple. Look guys, a lot of boards have already got into their marking procedures. Let's just do it from next year. But as a result of shoddy implementation, what's effectively happened is yet another year, the careers and the college admissions of lakhs of students have been unfairly affected.
Very well spoken, and I wish a more number of television reporters could actually speak with the amount of clarity in which you processed such a complex story, Meghnad. I'll come back to you in a bit, but Ipsita Kapoor, Standard 12 student of CBSE, are you worried by what is happening? Are you worried that suddenly this decision to not moderate the marks, or perhaps what is going on, it puts you, number one, not only at a disadvantage with regards to college students from other boards, but also in case there are many students who are applying to foreign universities also, they are expecting something around 90, 94, 95, according to their own standard of marks. However, suddenly if this moderation doesn't happen, it falls down to 80. Are you worried by this process?
Definitely, yeah. Me and a lot of my friends, we are worried about this, because even if this policy would have been implemented correctly, either way before the results were to be announced, or from 2018, as he said, so then it wouldn't have been such a problem. But right now, we're in the middle of our result declaration, and we are banking on our results for college admissions. So everything is being delayed. Our results are being delayed, and in turn, our college admissions are being delayed, and that is completely ruining our future.
Right. Right. I'll come back to you, Ipshita, in just a bit. Let's get our political panelists immediately on this, Sudhanshu Mittal and Adil Singh Boparai. Let me get to you, Sudhanshu ji. Sudhanshu ji, from what it emerges now, for years, the CBSE and other boards like the ISC have also, it seemed to have unfairly tinkered with class 12 board exam results of their students. Why have the governments been silent on what I would say as an unfair marking pattern for so long?
Sanjeev, the issue which is being discussed has two sides of it. One is the moderation itself, the other is the timings right now. On the issue of moderation, I compliment the government for trying to correct an ill in the system. You know, this system has been catering to mediocrity, in which excellence has always been a casualty. People who excelled were brought at parity with people who otherwise did not do as well. And in a competitive environment where each and every mark, single mark, makes a word of a difference in terms of admission, in terms of career, future, this was a highly unfair practice. I think if the government has decided to do away with the practice and let the merit be what it is and not be tinkered with, I think we should all compliment and welcome the move. The second part of it is the timing, which is being discussed. Now, in terms of timing also, you have to understand that there are various solutions to the proposition. Even if you do not, and I again repeat, even if you do not moderate and let the original marks be there, there are ways and means to protect the student from being unfairly competing with a lot of boards which otherwise do moderation. But incidentally, let me tell you one thing. I have been the president of Delhi University Students' Union and also a member of the Executive Council of Delhi University. It's a perennial problem Delhi University has faced. The marking pattern and the standards of CBSE are far more stringent than some of the state boards. And it is for this reason that a lot of state students passing from the state boards have monopolized the good seats. And it is for this reason that a lot of state students passing from the state boards have monopolized the good seats of Delhi University. And for long I have been an advocate of drawing equivalence. I'm saying absolute marks are not equivalent because the standard of marking in a few boards is ridiculously liberal than in comparison to CBSE. So CBSE students have always been at a disadvantage. As I said, the move that nobody shall moderate is something which will restore sanity in this system. And I think, let's put things in the perspective. Things have got complicated after a stay order has been granted by the High Court, surely. Now, it's not something which is a part of the schedule. But if the judicial intervention has taken place, it has taken place. But I've just heard the statement of the HRD minister, who has categorically assured that no injustice shall be done to these students. So I would repose faith And I would not be preemptive as to what is going to happen.
Right.
Because certainly everybody is seized of the matter and nobody wants students to suffer in their fate. But since the stay order has just happened 2 days back, I think in a day or two you will be hearing what it is.
That's a fair point, Sudhanshu-ji. That's a fair point, Sudhanshu-ji. While all CBSE students will be hopeful, like Ikshita here in our studio, they'll be very, very hopeful that the HRD minister will say true to his words and actually do what is best for the benefit of the students. Adil Singh Boparai, let me bring you into this now. Adil, it's been going on for years, 10, 15, 20 years. What is going on? I repeat the question. I don't want it to become a political slanging match. But let's be honest, Adil, this has been going on for a really long time. I don't want to be the one to point fingers at either the BJP or the Congress, but the Congress was in government, in power for a pretty long time. This has been going on for a really long time. Why did not any particular government or minister step in and stem the rot? Why did it take a young reporter like Meghnad Bose to bring this story right in front of every one of us?
At this point in time, it reflects the lack of concern of the government. Now let's try to understand this issue objectively and holistically.
Yeah.
What does this issue really hinge on? This issue hinges on the principle that the rules of the game cannot be changed during the subsistence of the game. This is a basic tenet of law. Now let's see what the government has done. The government has notified a policy which changes the education policy as far as CBSE schools are concerned after the students have submitted the examination forms, after they've taken the examination, and a few weeks before the results have to be declared. Now this is the point in time where the government has changed the policy. Now let's understand the fallout of the consequences of this policy. This policy really places all those students who've taken the CBSE exams at a disadvantageous position vis-a-vis other school boards. This actually denies the CBSE students a level playing field. This affects their decision to secure an admission to a college of their choice.
But Adil, you're not answering my question. Adil, you're not answering my question. I understand you're giving a holistic view and you're also pointing it out that why is the government intervening just at this point of time? It's a critical juncture as far as timing is concerned with regards to exams and the qualification process. But my basic question remains the same. Let us not forget, it's not a mess, it's not an issue, it's a scam. It's a scam that people's students have their marks moderated or rather spiked. And the fact is that repeated governments have done nothing for 10, 15 years. That is my basic question. How do you rebut that? Meghnad, why don't you come in?
If I can come in,
as far as the moderation,
my question to both the political guests on the show, is very simple. The 95 spike that we speak about, the 95 spike began in 2008. 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 were all under the UPA regime. 2014, 15, 16 was under the NDA regime. For 9 years, this marking scam rot continued under the CBSE for 9 years. So either our political administrations have to tell us that they did not know. If they did not know, why did they not know about something as big as this, as unfair as this happening and affecting lakhs and lakhs of students? And why was it only after the lid was blown off in the report that the CBSE took action? Why was there no internal mechanism in place to stop what was clearly unethical and unfair?
Right, let's have quick responses. Adil, you go first.
Can I tell him something?
Sudhanshu-ji, 1 minute. Let Adil speak first because I had interjected while he was speaking. Quick response.
Let me tell you what the division bench of the Delhi High Court has said. The division bench, comprising of the acting Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, has called the notification and the implementation of the policy of the government as unfair and irresponsible. These are the adjectives which have been used by the Honorable Delhi High Court. Now, as far as the notification or the change in policy is concerned, the government was well within its right to do it from the new academic session. Why do it now?
That is all fine. Adil, that is all fine.
Lakhs and lakhs of students.
Adil, that is all fine. But what we are discussing tonight, Adil,
there
what
was
we
a
are
need for the
discussing
government
tonight is
to
not
show
what the
vision.
court told the
There was a
government.
need for this government to
Adil,
show foresight.
if you could
and
listen
have
to me,
concern
if you
for
are
lakhs
getting
and
my
lakhs of
voice very
students
clearly,
for their
the
careers.
question,
This
or
just
rather what we are
reflects the
debating is
government's
not what the
cavalier
Delhi
manner
High
in
Court
which
told
they
the government,
implement policies.
but
You
whether
want
or
to
not
change
the
the
fact
policy,
is that
change the
other
policies
government
on
should
the
have
new
been more
academic
proactive.
session.
You're
Why
not
not at
answering
this
my
point in
question.
time?
Please do not digress.
That's the question.
No,
That's the
no,
problem.
please do not
And we
digress. Either
welcome
give
the
a direct
judgment,
answer
welcome
or
the
do not.
intelligent
I do not
direction
want
of
any
the Honorable
digressions
Delhi High
happening on this show.
I think it's
We
a
are,
slap
Adil,
in
if
the
you can hear me
government's
loud
face.
and clear,
For the
if
Honorable
you can
Delhi
hear
High
me
Court
loud
to
and
say
clear,
that the
let me make it
government
very,
is
very
acting
clear.
in an
We are not
irresponsible
sitting
manner
here trying to
speaks
judge
volumes
what the
of
Delhi
the
High Court has said about the government's
the manner in which the
policy.
government functions.
I'm asking you a direct question. What has your government done over the last 10 years?
From misplaced
Sudhanshu
priorities.
Mittal, your response, please.
That's the problem. This
You
government
refuse to
shows
listen to a
concern
question
with
and you
reality.
answer my question with a different answer which nobody wants to listen.
Not about issues.
Please remember, viewers are not
Lakhs and
fools.
lakhs of
Sudhanshu ji, please answer.
Can I,
Sudhanshu ji, please answer.
Sanjeev ji,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You should get familiarized with the university system.
Yeah.
Or the Central Board of Secondary Education system. You see, marking and evaluation is such a secretive process. There's no information available. Let me tell you very, very honestly. I have been on the executive council of the Delhi University for 6 years. The ruling body of the Delhi University. And how the marks have been evaluated, we do not know. Nobody knows it. Except for that, in the controller of examination, who in the name of secrecy does not reveal anything. And let me tell you one thing. I was the one who got the valuation introduced in Indian universities for the first time. Only because, there were bad evaluations, careers were getting lost, it was illogical and there was no remedy. So I said every student who feels that he is not being marked appropriately must have a chance to get his answer papers reevaluated. So the university and the education system at the school levels are so clouded with secrecy that I compliment your correspondent. I mean, in spite of being a part of the university system for years, I could never have figured out as to how they do moderations.
You know, Mr.
So
Mittal,
really
if I
to
could...
blame the Congress government also, I will not blame. I'm not being political.
No.
To blame the Congress government or any government would be unfair. But the moment it has come to light, there has been a policy that let the scam or the sham not get perpetrated.
No. Generally what happens,
If you
Sudhanshu ji,
realize-
let me clarify for the benefit of our viewers, Adil and also Sudhanshu ji, that generally it is political spokespersons or, political panelists who argue amongst each other or debate amongst each other. Tonight I was not doing that. What I was trying to do is ask a direct question, and when confronted by my direct question, Adil was giving me an answer which was not the answer to my question, and that is precisely the reason I was asking. I'm sure it is the brilliance of Meghnad sitting here who broke the story that woke up a lot of governments and the officials from their slumber and made them realize what's going on. But Ipshita, I'll come to you in just a bit, but Ipshita, if I could come to you on this issue. You've been seeing that other boards have been announcing the results. One doesn't know. Other boards have refused. They've said that this no moderation policy will take from next year. So there, obviously, their marks are being spiked or whatever the case might be as of now. Are you worried by that? Because your results are yet to come out. Are you worried by that? It certainly puts you at a disadvantage in case CBSE has no moderation.
Yeah, exactly. My whole problem with the whole episode of the moderation policy is that the timing is absolutely wrong and out of place. Either you should have done it way before the results the examination started, or you should have keep the policy, not keep the policy. You should have taken a decision from 2018. Right now we are stuck in the middle of things, and other boards some of the boards have already come out with their results.
Right.
So we whether we have the policy or not, our results are going to be affected, and similarly in turn it will affect our college applications.
But Meghnad, very quickly, we're running out of time, very quickly.
My question to Mr. Mittal and hopefully to the Congress spokesperson as well. Mr. Mittal, you're part of the ruling dispensation. My question to Mr. Mittal and hopefully to the Congress spokesperson as well. Mr. Mittal, you're part of the ruling dispensation right now. You're part of the administration. You spoke very honestly and candidly about the lack of transparency, the complete opacity with which the board and the big boards of our country operate. Will you assure us, sir, that in the years to come, the CBSE will disclose its marking patterns as the case should be, like you mentioned? Will you assure us that this government will take the steps necessary to ensure that it's greater transparency in the board marking process?
Quick response. We're running out of time. Sudhanshu Mittal.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have no doubt. I know Mr. Prakash Javadekar personally, and I know his commitment to transparency. You know, we've been working for examination reforms, and this is a part of the examination reform. So let me assure you that all in the name of secrecy, what has been going on will not continue this way anymore. And there is a blatant unfairness in the system right now. As I explained to you, some of the boards are so liberal, and having them as equivalent to a CBSE student, these are academic issues which need to be addressed. And there is a systemic reform which is required. But unfortunately, let me just tell you one more problem. See, education, unfortunately, is a state subject. While you have a central board, there is every state government has its own board. And to enhance the performance of their own students, they have been rather liberal. You are really seriously confronted. See, state universities have the advantage of reserving seats for their own of the state students. But Delhi University, being a central university, does not have this advantage. So I cannot reserve 75% seats for the people who passed out from the CBSE or the Delhi board. That is the problem. So what we'll have to look at is whether the central universities can also provide a reservation for the people of Delhi state or people passing out from the Central Board of Secondary Education. Because these are anomalies. One, you know, it's apple and oranges which are now being compared as equals, which they're not.
You know, Sudhanshu Mittal, I'm happy. Sudhanshu Mittal, I'm happy that on the subject of education, we are having such a fiery debate. Generally, it doesn't happen, and these issues are not really picked up on prime time television. But we have, Sudhanshu ji, completely out of time. Adil, I give you the last word. Which side of the bridge do you stand? Do you believe that there should be a no moderation policy that should be implemented across the board? Very quickly, Adil.
Whether there is a moderation policy or no moderation policy, this is for the government to decide, and the matters before the court.
Which side do you stand?
What we are saying is that you can't implement the policy. You can't implement the policy days before the result has to be declared. That affects the future of lakhs and lakhs of students. That is critical, and the government should be mindful of this.
We understand that.
You can't place CBSE students at a disadvantageous position.
We understand that, and that's the reason the story has been brought up
and there is a need for greater transparency in the functioning of the Ministry of HRD.
All right.
It's shrouded in opacity, and there's secrecy with regard to their functioning.
Yeah, but you know, I'm completely out of time. But to be fair, you know, to give the devil its due, as someone said, you cannot really raise questions of the HRD ministry right now. The HRD minister, at least, he seems to be on the face of it making the right moves. While a lot of people will ask your government,
well,
your previous government, what were you guys doing? I'm sure there are many questions which you were confronted with at that point of time. It only took Meghnad's brilliance to bring up this report in the public domain. One final word, obviously, from Ipshita, how does it look like?
It looks like the results have been already been delayed, and it looks like we're not going to get our results anytime soon. And I am terrified because all my college applications and all my friends' college applications are stuck in the middle of nowhere. And I think it's the result even now is going to be completely unfair, as it has been going on for a long time. All my seniors, we've always had unfair results. Someone who has put in more hard work has gotten a lower result than someone who did not deserve it.
We certainly, all of us here at NewsX, and of course Sudhanshu Mittal and Adil Singh Boparai, and everybody, I think should wish all the CBSE candidates all the best, because they are in a fix as far as this particular issue is concerned. But once again, Sudhanshu Mittal, Adil Boparai, Meghnad, brilliant reportage over 1 year, and you've been following the story in a very good way. Ipshita, for your courage in coming out on a television channel and speaking about it openly without any fear. We wish you all the best, and here's hoping the HRD ministry does get to the root of this, because there are many big questions which will come up in the time to come. Is it time for a complete revamp of India's educational system? And let's not forget, the media must also make sure it doesn't make the mistake. This is not just an ordinary issue. This is not an issue to be politicized. It is not just a mess. It certainly looks like one of the biggest scams. I hope someday, soon enough, somebody, maybe Meghnad or somebody else, will get to the bottom of it. On that note, I thank all my guests. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching NewsX. Goodbye. Good night.